So this is my 2009 Mazda RX8 R3. We're running some 17-inch Koenigs hypergrams with some 200 treadwear tires. Right now they're Ventus RS4s. It does have a Willwood big brake kit from Goodwin Racing. That has definitely improved stopping power. However, they are a bit noisy, and it is a little bit forward biased at this point. That's something that I've been looking into and might adjust over time. But fantastic braking, tires grip and hook without problem, and quite frankly, with the power delivery of this Mazda, the big brake kit may not 100% be necessary, but I think the more brakes the better, in my opinion. It's easy to go fast, it's a lot harder to go slow. We have the APR GTC, I believe 300 wing on 2-inch risers. Noticeable improvement in the corners. You can also see the downforce via the dents in the trunk. Don't mind that big dent. That was from an off at turn 1 here at Roebling about a year ago. Also don't mind the high-vis trunk lid. I ran out of black wrap and that was the only thing I had available. So that's what we went with. Otherwise, it's got factory sway bars, although I did order Racing Beat sway bars about a year ago and have yet to see them. It does have hood and fender vents, which has certainly helped reduce the heat under the hood and evacuate it over time. I also wrapped the headlights and fog lights. Frankly, I just like the look. There's really no other purpose than that. Checking out the interior, we have OMP WRC-R racing seats. I picked these up based on a recommendation from another black RX8 R3 track guy who was outpacing me. And at the time, I don't remember what I had. I think I had a set of Corbos maybe, but once I sat in these puppies and realized how high these bolsters were, especially when I removed this cushion for the session, it makes a huge difference. You don't go anywhere. Obviously, OMP 6-point harness strapped to an Auto Power Race Bolton roll bar. I have started the weight reduction process. It was a beautiful, pristine R3 pre me tracking it, and then once I crashed it, that's when things got a little more serious. Otherwise, it used to have a full interior. You can see the battery relocated to the back. I did that myself. First timer in that department. They are fixed buckets. I removed the sliders. I have a OMP 350 millimeter steering wheel with an NRG quick release hub. That makes a world of difference getting in and out. Quite frankly, if you're looking at a steering wheel for your RX8, I would recommend probably something smaller. It is a bit large. No larger than the factory steering wheel, I don't believe, but I would prefer something slightly smaller. I do have the XL WRC-R in the passenger seat, so that passengers can be a little more comfortable, although I don't typically have anyone riding with me. It's very rare. Next, I got 3 gauges showing water temp, oil pressure, and oil temp. That is the Racing Beat gauge pod with AEM digital gauges. They're fantastic. And then as you can see, I'm also running a Garmin Catalyst, so I can take video and track pacing. And today, for the first time, I have, unfortunately it's a Hero 3, so the footage is not as clean as I would like, but I'm gonna have an internal cam as well. Outside of that, I could pop the hood. I do have factory porting. They're just doing orientation sessions at the moment. I do have factory porting I wanted to keep it as reliable as possible. Although, as you can see, once I started cutting into the hood, I wanted to eliminate as much stuff in the engine bay as possible to allow air to free flow as easily as possible. Aluminum, I think that's Bennett built, one of the original Bennett built. Coolant tanks, AEM intake, although I also have a Racing Beat intake that I prefer. I think it has better low end power, and that's just from a butt dyno. There's no numbers on that, but it takes up this entire area. So I went with the AEM just simply to allow more of a cooling effect. You can't tell, but I also have an upgraded Mosmart water pump. No, excuse me, Remedy water pump to help keep temps down. And then because it's an R3, yes, it's a little damaged. Hang in there with me. It has dual oil coolers. Prior to this weekend, I threw a throwout bearing at Road Atlanta, 3 laps in. It was a bit of a catastrophe because that's a very expensive weekend. That ended up being a wash. And so coming out this weekend, I literally just finished putting in a new throwout bearing, and while I was in there, even though I already had a brand new Exity Stage 1 clutch, if I'm gonna do all that work, I might as well replace the clutch too. So I threw in an Exity Stage 2, and we're gonna see how she performs on track today. Very few break-in miles, only about 75 miles on the clutch so far, which is not ideal. But we're gonna run with it. Oh, last thing I forgot to mention. Obviously I have dual Racing Beat exhaust. It is a free-flowing exhaust with a free-flowing mid-pipe. And all of a sudden, I can't recall who it's by. BHR mid-pipe, there it is. So she's as free-flowing, free-breathing, open air as possible. So that's the RX8. This is the car I've been tracking. Those are the videos you've been seeing external footage on. This is also the one I crashed at turn 1, which I will link in this video as well. And if anyone is potentially interested in buying this car and a lot of parts, she may or may not be available. So that's it, and we will see how the day goes.